because we kind of need that to happen in order to make a show run forward. Matthew, quiet riot. Come on, feel his noise. Yes, he still has the 80s mullet, people. Matthew, quiet riot. It's one of the best nicknames I've come up with for our chat room so far. And I like it. It feels good. Rolls off the tongue well. Phil Minervino, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, and thank you for joining us. Remember, everyone, the Super Chat is a wonderful way to support this show on a nightly basis. We really do appreciate it. And so let's get that started. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. We are here 7 days a week for your listening entertainment. I'm here Monday through Friday. Lyd Wallington is here Saturdays and Sundays. And soon, just 3.5 weeks away, we are going to be kicking off a new show called After Hours after Lyd. Arismana, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Zero Cool, good to see you, my friend. And we got about 25 seconds. Dr. Susan Shumsky is our guest tonight. We're going to get our Zen on. We're going to get our Chi on. We're going to open up spiritually tonight. Gorgeous Carol, the stunning thin Lizzie Borden. How are you ladies tonight? I am glad you're here. I'm glad to be here for you. And we're going to rock this thing. I am pumped up for tonight. Let's do this thing. Let's get ready. Let's get your horns up. It's time for Bumblefoot. Let's do it. Of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including Rockin' Out Bumblefoot, reading up on Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a good one for you tonight as we are joined by author Dr. Susan Shumsky, who has dedicated her life to helping people take command of their lives in highly effective, powerful, positive ways. Man, old Davey could use some of that woo. Yeah, she is the author of more than 20 books in English, published by Simon Schuster, Random House, Red Wheel Weiser, and Skyhorse Publishing. She has won 42 prestigious book awards, has 35 books in 4 editions, a pioneer in the human potential field. She has spent several decades teaching thousands of people meditation, prayer, affirmation, and intuition. Her website is drsusan.org. And Dr. Susan Shumsky, thank you so much for joining us on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
I'm really excited to be here with you this evening, tonight, Dave.
I'm excited. I'm excited for you as well because, you know, a lot of our focus is always on UFOs or aliens and what's happening there and, you know, Bigfoot running around the forest. Sprinkle in a little bit of Dogman and ghosts, you know, and that's usually what we do. But for my mind, body, and soul, Dr. Susan, I just need some straight Zen and Chi, and I think you're going to deliver that for us tonight.
I certainly hope so.
I would love to.
I'd love to do that.
Well, I would love to learn a little bit about you and introduce you to our audience. You've been doing this for a while now, and how did you ever get into the idea that the consciousness, the body, the mind, the soul was the real focus of the human body?
Well, I got into it back in the ancient times of the 20th century when I was a flower child and living in the San Francisco Bay Area as a hippie. And those of us who were flower children at the time, people thought it was all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But in fact, it was really more about higher states of consciousness. Our gurus at that time were Timothy Leary, Richard Alpert, who later became Ram Dass and wrote the book Be Here Now. And we were really seeking these altered states. And Leary and Alpert told us that we could do that through LSD, that we would be able to reach nirvana through that. And they wrote a book called The Psychedelic Experience, which we were following and trying to follow their advice about turn on, tune in, and drop out. So that didn't work out very well for me. The LSD thing, not so great. But I still wanted to experience nirvana. So I was reading all these books voraciously, the Buddhist scriptures, Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, The Way of Zen, and other works by Alan Watts. And in Alan Watts' books, he said you have to find a meditation guide. Well, in 1966 in Berkeley, California, you didn't exactly go to the yellow pages and open and find meditation guide or anything remotely similar to that. But I wanted to meditate. So I asked a friend, well, how do I do that? And he said, well, have you ever tried to meditate on your own? I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I lay on my bed and sort of prayed for or asked for a meditation. And immediately I was propelled into this ecstatic state. I could feel this cord of energy, like a rush of energy rushing from the tips of my toes all the way to the top of my head. And I was not on drugs or anything. It was just completely natural experience. And I figured, well, I guess this is meditation. I didn't know any better. The reality is that I had had not only my first meditation experience, but Kundalini awakening all at the same time without any stimulants, drugs, or anything. And not too long after that, a friend took me to the Transcendental Meditation Center. And as soon as I saw the picture of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi on the wall, I just had this feeling that this is where I can learn real meditation. So I ended up going to India. A few years after that, I was in India studying with Maharishi in Rishikesh. And I actually spent 6 years on his personal staff, and I lived in his various ashrams throughout the world for 2 decades.
Wow. What did you learn about yourself spiritually as you went down this path?
In the beginning, it was really about meditation and experiencing the transcendent. Transcendent means beyond duality, the experience of inner peace, deep relaxation, wholeness, oneness, the experience of unbounded awareness, the experience of cosmic awareness. And so it was an expansion of awareness. And that's really all I was doing for about 20 years. And then I realized, maybe this isn't the only experience that I can have on the inner world. I realized that I had been experiencing the absolute consciousness, which you might call the impersonal aspect of God. But what seemed to be missing from my spiritual experience was the personal aspect of God. And what that brings is it brings divine love into awareness. And that was what was missing. So I actually studied with some people in San Diego. And it was from a teaching called Teaching of Intuitional Metaphysics, which you've never heard of, which no one has ever heard of. But there I learned how to listen to the still small voice within, how to receive divine guidance, how to connect directly with spirit, with a capital S, how to communicate with divine beings like ascended masters, angels, archangels, deities. And I learned how to do that. Strangely, I didn't learn how to do that in the ashram. All we did was have that experience of deep relaxation and cosmic awareness.
Did you grow up religious and then had to refine it? Or was this something completely new to you?
I don't think that I grew up religious. I grew up in a Jewish household, and we were Reformed Jews, which means we didn't follow all the rituals and all of that. So I grew up in kind of a liberal humanist background. And my father said he was an atheist, and my mother said she was an agnostic. So not a very religious background. But spirituality was something that really spoke to me. And Maharishi himself, this guru, who was the guru of the Beatles, he really spoke to me because this was post-World War II. And at that time, everyone was terrified that the Russians were going to bomb us with an atomic bomb. So my 3-year-old self, my 4-year-old self, was terrified every time I would hear a plane going over our house, which happened a lot because we lived very close to an Air Force base. I was afraid the next one was going to be a bomb dropping on my head. So everyone was afraid of that. And they wanted world peace, basically. So every time that I had a birthday or there was a wishing well or there was a star, I would always pray for world peace. And that was Maharishi's platform. That's all he ever talked about, was attaining world peace. He used to say, in order for the forest to be green, the trees must be green. In order for the world to be at peace, individuals must be at peace. So that really rang a bell with me. I thought that made a lot of sense, because how can you have a peaceful world if you have people who are conflicted, warring, stressed? So what he did is he trained 40,000 teachers during his lifetime. He trained them to teach meditation. And 6 million people learned transcendental meditation during his lifetime. So that was his contribution to world peace.
As you were growing up in the wild 60s, where you didn't know what was going to go on from one day to the next, communism was rampant, the Vietnam War is going on, there's trouble within universities, racism is at its highest. It was a very ugly level of humanity in North America, and namely the United States at that time. So for you, how did you start your journey, or how did you find a journey to peace through all of that real rough lifestyle of that time?
Well, those of us who were hippies, which I was a hippie, there were kind of two basic types of hippies at that time. There were the political types, and then there were the flower children. And I was the flower children type. So I was not involved with politics. I didn't go and listen to Abby Hoffman or anything like that. I just hung out and went to the Avalon Ballroom and the Fillmore Auditorium and Winterland and rocked out.
Nice.
And took acid and took marijuana and made love, not war. That's what we were doing. We were making love, not war, which I did a lot of.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
That was the flower child philosophy.
Well, my goodness. I was born in the 70s. I skipped right over it. I think my parents had two 50s and then the 80s. So, I mean, it's just, one of those things where, you were enjoying life, experimenting with life. At what point, though, coming out of that era, did you decide to get serious about your own spirituality? How old were you at that time?
Well, I was 18 when I started taking LSD in order to experience nirvana. That's what I was looking for. That was a lot of what the flower child thing was about. And as I said, I was reading all these books and trying to learn as much as I could about cosmic consciousness. And then, of course, wanted to experience it. So meditation was the way. And, at that time, there were several terms that didn't exist in the English language. Terms like guru, karma, yoga, ashram. Meditation even really didn't exist. but certainly none of those Indian words existed in the English language. And so it's very different today than it was back then. We were pioneers. Those things just didn't exist. And then along came Maharishi and a couple other gurus from India, and they really changed the world. They changed Western world and made it much more into meditation and spiritual development.
I just want to let our audience know, especially on YouTube and on Twitch, radio audience, you won't be able to see this. If you see me looking down at my cell phone, it's because my daughter right now, where she lives, is surrounded by water. And due to the flooding in southern British Columbia in the Fraser Valley area. And so I'm just kind of monitoring what she is saying, because the grocery stores there literally have no food. Everybody is rated food, and there's no way into town, no way out of town. And one of the big pumps in the area just apparently failed. So,
oh my goodness.
So that's going to cause more flooding. Now, my daughter is safe. It's a big place. It's a big place, lots of mountains you could go to. But I'm just kind of keeping in touch with that, because there is reality behind the show as well. So if you see me looking down at my cell phone, I'm not being rude. I'm just trying to see what's happening and see if my daughter is okay and if she needs anything like money or anything that I could send her. So just want to keep everybody in touch with that. So Dr. Susan, for you, as you developed your own path to spirituality, did it start for you to really ascend and open up when you made your connection with God?
Yeah, I have to say that it was after I was at the ashram for 20 years, and then I really learned this other method that I teach that's in a couple of my books. One of those is called Divine Revelation, and another one called Awaken Your Divine Intuition. Those two books mainly that are in print are the ones that really teach this method of listening to the still small voice within and being led by spirit in everyday life. In other words, having direct communication with the divine presence within you, with your higher self, with divine beings, beings of light, ascended masters, angels, archangels, deities, and having a dialogue going with those divine beings, and according to free will, listening to that inner voice and following the guidance if a person wants to do that. And what I found is by listening to that inner guidance that my life became quite magical, miraculous. Coincidences that were not really coincidental would take place, and I'd be in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. The right people would show up, and just kind of happy things would happen as a result of following that inner guidance. And that's really how, for example, my first book got published, was by following that inner guidance. And then when I didn't follow it, some other things happened that weren't so great.
But how did your life change? How did it become more of a technique for you to become the ascended master and teaching people about their own humanity?
Well, I had already been teaching meditation. I was teaching transcendental meditation until I found this new method, and then I started teaching that. It was really, I felt compelled really to teach it simply because it was so miraculous for me. It was so amazing. But I have to say that I had the same kind of experience about TM, Transcendental Meditation. When I first learned that, I immediately wanted to become a teacher, and I started applying for courses, and I kept getting rejected because they kept telling me I was too young, but I kept applying and applying and applying. I applied to the course that the Beatles went on, but I had no idea that they were going to be there. But I was too young, so they didn't let me go. But then finally, Maharishi allowed younger students to go, and I was one of those. So luckily, I got to go to India and study with him. And so it was really just from that desire to not only have my own experience, but to help others to have the experience. Just kind of like a feeling of wanting to reach out and help other people. And then when I learned how to listen to the divine voice and not only have the experience of the impersonal aspect of the divine, but also the personal, which is an experience of divine love, which is so comforting. It's the feeling of being protected and safe and secure and loved beyond measure. And that experience, of course, I wanted to share with others. So I started teaching, and then I started writing books about it. So now really almost everything that I teach is in the books, really. People can learn everything from the books.
Well, okay. So I do have to ask, with the Maharishi and getting to know, that this is the same spiritual guide that worked with the Beatles back in the day. I mean, what did you ever ask him about the Beatles and what it was like to teach them on how to open up their minds?
Well, I'll tell you one incident about that. It was in 1969. This was a year after John Lennon walked out on Maharishi in a huff, along with George Harrison. And so it was about a year after that. It was more than a year after that. Anyway, it was December 1969, and Maharishi was meeting a few people in his meeting room in Rishikesh, and they were discussing plans for the next course or whatever. And all of a sudden, burst into the room was his secretary, who said, "Maharishi, I have a very important telegram." And Maharishi said, "What it is?" And she said, "Maharishi, I have this telegram. It's from John Lennon." And Maharishi said, "Who?" And she said, "John Lennon, Maharishi." And he said, "Who?" And she said, "John Lennon with the Beatles, who was here with you, John Lennon." And Maharishi looked, turned away from her and looked in disgust and said, "I do not know a John Lennon."
Oh my goodness.
And similarly, when George Harrison also tried to reach out to Maharishi in the early 70s and in the mid-70s, well, actually in the early 70s and then again in the late 70s, he called Maharishi at least 4 times that I know of, and kept wanting to apologize to Maharishi, especially for the way that John Lennon had acted and the trouble. He wanted to apologize for what he said was the trouble that the Beatles caused. But Maharishi refused to talk to him. He would never talk to him. And then finally, it wasn't until 1991, I believe, finally, George did go and visit Maharishi in Holland, where he was living at the time. And they did have a conversation, and there was some resolution, and George apologized to him, and it was a very nice exchange. And apparently they kind of made up, so it was okay in the end. But John Lennon never saw Maharishi again after he walked out. He was very angry. They were both very angry. They were very bitter.
That is one argument I would have liked to have taken in. Two peaceful guys having a disagreement about spirituality. Oh, yeah. My goodness. We have less.
I wrote about it in my book, this book, Maharishi and Me, Seeking Enlightenment with the Beatles Guru. That's my memoir. And I also just finished writing another book. And that book goes much more detail into the whole thing. And it's called The Inner Light, How India Influenced the Beatles. And actually, it's up on Amazon right now for pre-order. It hasn't been printed yet or anything. It's still in the manuscript stage, but it is on Amazon now. It's called The Inner Light, How India Influenced the Beatles.
On that note, I am going to get you, Dr. Susan Shumsky, to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. drsusan.org is Susan Shumsky's website. more than 20 books to add to your collection. Yes, because we love good authors around here. And she's a good one. Toured all over the world, writing, talking about humanity, prayer, ascension. We're going to get it on with our Zen and Chi here in just a little bit on Spaced Out Radio. I could bear hug you right now. I'm just so thankful you're here.
Oh, well, I can bear hug you too. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
I'm just going to go try and turn on another light or two. I don't have enough light on my face.
Okay. Hi, Thomas Fessler. How you doing, buddy? Great show tonight on Disclosure tonight. I took that in right before us in order to warm up for tonight's show. And Thomas, as per usual, doing a great job at reading the news and keeping us up to date with everything. Great job, Thomas. Once again, really do appreciate that. And so make sure, if you haven't already, go to Thomas Fessler's channel and hit subscribe. He's always right before us on YouTube. And the best part about him, real classy guy, never even had to ask him, but he shuts down his show right before us because we have so many mutual listeners that he wants to make sure that his listeners don't miss a minute of our show. So it's really cool of him. So make sure you go hit that subscribe and ring that bell on Thomas. We would greatly appreciate it. And that's how you build teams in this area. Positivity and good people is by helping each other out. So thank you so much, Thomas. Appreciate that, man. And yeah, that was good. That was good. My favorite name in the chat room, I don't know what it means, Xochitl Paez. I love that name. Now that I know how to pronounce it, I can't stop saying it. Xochitl. Xochitl. Lazarus, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Xochitl. Love it. Such a pretty name. And hi, Dr. Susan. Can you hear me okay, Dr. Susan? I don't know if she can hear me. Dr. Susan, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
I
don't know why.
I don't know.
Oh, for some reason it was all turned down. I don't know why.
Oh.
Now I can hear you.
Perfect. All right. Chad Smith, thank you so much, buddy. The Chad Smith. Remember, you can get your Chad Smith t-shirts, the official Wrench t-shirts in the Spaced Out Radio store on our on our website, spacedoutradio.com. Make sure you check that out. Who else do we have? Oh, Reverend Keith is here. Reverend Keith, can I get an amen for you, Pastor Keith? Love you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Who else has showed up? There's the gorgeous and talented Kira. Yes, looking good as per usual. And I think we're caught up. I do. Okay. All right. All right. Let's hide that. All right. We have about 90 seconds. 90 seconds. Everything's looking good. Checking everything out. That looks like a comfy couch.
It is. I'm in an RV. I live in an RV.
Oh, lucky you. That's my goal in 11 and a half years.
Okay.
Yep. 11 and a half years.
I've lived in a van, a trailer, or an RV since 1989.
Good for you. That is outstanding.
It's crazy, actually. It's insane.
I think it's wonderful.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, we got about 45 seconds. And just coming up here. Quick question from Jer Bear here. He's wondering, do you believe that Paul McCartney really did pass away in a car accident in 1966?
I have an interesting story about that.
Well, hold on to that. Hold on to that. We'll answer it here momentarily. Hold on. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. And we're also on TikTok now, so make sure you go hit subscribe there. We are at a whopping 33 followers. We just opened it up a couple of days ago, so I'm not expecting thousands just yet, but add your name to the list. It would make life grand. Tonight we are talking with Dr. Susan Shumsky. She's the author of over 20 books, and her website, drsusan.com, .org. And I'll tell you, it's all about the Zen and the Chi and finding our inner selves tonight. Dr. Susan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for inviting me to be here tonight, Dave.
Love it. Love it. And for people on the radio side, you can't see her lovely smile. She has a genuine, lovely smile, and I'm enjoying that. I really am. More people need to smile more. You know, I want to start this off. The past couple of years has been very ugly on this planet. A lot of natural disasters, forest fires all over the place. Never mind, political strife, COVID-19. It's been ugly, and people have been weighed down by so much that they just can't take it anymore. Humanity, I think, in North America and probably around the world is at a boiling point of firing back in many different directions in order to try and get what we perceive as life back to normal. So for you, as you look at the earth and you look at the people today where we're angry, we're upset, we're sad, we're more depressed, how do we change this round of luck? Because we all have to do it individually. We can't do it en masse. But for ourselves, how do we start to change and purify what is good out there?
Well, what I try to do is provide very practical solutions. And that's the reason why I write these books that people can use, and it can really help them in a practical way, not just some wild philosophy or, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. What I provide is real solutions, things that people can do in their everyday life. So my most recent books, which are Third Eye Meditations, and Earth Energy Meditations and Prosperity Meditations. I don't have the book. That one just got published, called Prosperity Meditations. And also this book, Instant Healing. What these books have is, for example, Instant Healing has 243 affirmations and prayers that can instantly change your mood, change your life, change whatever it is you want to change. You just go to the appendix and look it up, and then you just use the affirmation, and immediately, instantly, you'll feel better. It's just the way it is. That's the way affirmation works. You immediately shift your consciousness and you feel better. These other books I was talking about, the Earth Energy Meditations and the Third Eye Meditations, those are mostly guided meditations. So there's guided meditations, affirmations, prayers, and mantras in those books. And guided meditation, I think, is the easiest way to meditate because it's no brainer. You don't have to have any skill or patience, or you don't have to have any special abilities in order to use guided meditations. All you do is just either read the meditation on the page or listen to the audio book and close your eyes, or you make your own audio meditations by reading aloud. Just read audibly the meditation and then onto a device, and then play it back, sit comfortably, close your eyes, and your own voice then will guide you into meditation. So that's the way those books work, and very practical in all different subjects. For example, Earth Energy Meditations, a lot of that is about people who are very sensitive, empathic kind of people. They're called highly sensitive people, HSPs, and they are people who, they're like energy sponges. So they feel like they're drained by people around them, like people around them are vampires draining their energy all day. So an energy sponge would be one of those kinds of people, and as they go through their day, they just get more and more and more drained, and then by the end of the day, all they can do is just lie on their bed, so exhausted. So solutions for that kind of person are in that book, Earth Energy Meditations. It helps to ground you, helps you to have more inner strength, ability to stand your ground, and to not allow these influences around you to cause you so much distress. So that's Earth Energy Meditations. And Third Eye Meditations is a book that helps you to develop spiritually. So, but all of these books are very practical. They're about specific things like relationships, health, money. I have this book now, Prosperity Meditations, which is about how to be prosperous, how to develop prosperity consciousness, how to be prosperous on all levels, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, in all areas of life, relationships, health, world peace, world issues in the entire world, and also how to be strong within, and how to be prosperous as far as money is concerned as well. So these books are so practical, and it's really, the guided meditation is great. I call it the do nothing program. That means do nothing, nothing, and less than nothing. And the less you do, the better it works.
All right. I forgot to ask a question coming out of the break. Getting back to the Beatles for a quick second here. There's a question coming from our Revolution radio chat room. Thank you to Jareth Barrett. Now, there's a big conspiracy theory around the Beatles where many people believe that Paul McCartney actually passed away in 1966 in a car accident and was replaced by a look-alike. Is this just a conspiracy theory, or is there something to this?
Well, it might just be a conspiracy theory, but I have a very close friend. His name is Sean David Morton, and many of your listeners, I'm sure, have heard of him. He's quite famous. And he knew George Harrison. He knew the Beatles through this guy named Rolls, who was George Harrison's astrologer and very close, and also George Harrison's brother-in-law. And anyway, Carl Rolls introduced Sean to George, and Sean did spend some time with him. And somehow Sean got in a room alone with George, and he said, "Tell me, George, what about this Paul is dead thing? What's the truth about that?" So George actually got up off his chair and closed the door, came back to where Sean was sitting and sat next to him again and said, "It ain't worth me life, mate. It ain't worth me life."
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
That's very interesting. So there could be something to it, or it could be a conspiracy.
Yeah, who knows? Nobody knows, except the Beatles.
And their management team.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
let's continue on with the spiritual side of everything here. Because, for a lot of us, we live in a 24-hour society. People's sleep patterns have gone down. Doctors are now working with people to see how little sleep we really do need a night in order to refresh ourselves. It's not just the 8-9 hours for most people anymore. Most people average between 5 to 7 hours of sleep per night because there's just so much to do, whether it's work, whether it's commuting, whether it's, there's no 9-to-5 jobs anymore. Or maybe some people are starting their jobs at 4 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the morning rather than the 8 to 4 or 9 to 5. I mean, you get home, it's all social media, it's television, it's hanging out with friends, it's living, with family and taking care of your bills. There's a lot of stress on people. How do we learn to meditate to slow our minds down from a world that just keeps getting faster?
Well, I think because of the fact that the world is faster and faster, it's even more important for people to take some time out to meditate. And you don't have to take a half hour. You don't have to take an hour. You can take 5 minutes and get refreshed from just a 5-minute quickie meditation. So people, they have all these ideas about meditation. They think it's hard. They think they can't do it. They think you have to control your mind. They think you have to blank your mind. All of these things are fallacious. It's not true, just not true. The type of meditation that I teach, which is this guided meditation, anyone can do it. It's just, you either just read it on the page or you listen to the audio book or you make your own file. Like I said, make your own meditation and then listen to your own voice guiding you in. And the meditations in these books that I described, there's many really short ones, and then there's longer ones. Some of them might take 20 minutes, but there's plenty of them that would take 1 minute or 5 minutes. So really, you don't have to spend a lot of time in order to get into a state of quietude, into a state of deep relaxation, which is what meditation does. It takes you into this state of inner peace. And that state is a state of what we might call restful alertness, where the body is deeply rested, but you're still alert and you're still conscious. But you're feeling very, very relaxed and quiet and still and very peaceful. And that's what meditation does. And it's incredibly powerful. I'm a big fan of meditation. I believe it's the panacea of all ills. I believe meditation can just about cure just about anything. It's so powerful.
I can't slow my mind down. Every morning I wake up, and when I wake up, I turn the shower on as hot as I can because I enjoy it. It relaxes me. And I will try and meditate in the shower. Calm my mind. But I have one of these minds. One thing that I've noticed is when my mind doesn't want to relax, instead of going into that relaxing darkness where all the colors start to shimmer and shine, I go white. and it just starts speeding up. Like, okay, let's get the day going. And I'm like, no, it's meditation time. And my mind is like, no, it's time to get ready time. And I have this internal battle every morning with trying to figure out how to meditate and slow down and relax and enjoy the moment and the moments that are coming to the best of my ability. And there's a lot of people like me, Dr. Susan. How do we slow down our minds in order to heal our minds?
Okay. So let's just do an experiment right now. I'd like everyone to just breathe with me right now. Just take a big, deep breath. Breathe in. And let it go. And another big, deep breath. Breathe in. And let it all go. And now a third deep breath. Breathe in. And release. Peace, peace, be still. Be still and be at peace. Perfect peace, perfect peace, perfect peace. Be still and be at peace. Now, how do you feel?
I don't feel like I got enough oxygen because I can barely breathe out of my nose.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I could see where that would work.
It does.
Does the human body react that quickly to it?
Yes, it does. It does. All you have to do is just be open to the idea that now you're going to relax, And it's important to take some time. So you say, well, you're having this conflict. It's like, I should meditate. No, I should get going. No, I should meditate. You have to make a decision. Okay, every morning, I'm going to take 5 minutes of relaxation. And you can decide to do it either right when you get up, or you could decide to do it after you take your shower, whatever. Just have a time planned where you're going to take 5 minutes to meditate. You can call it meditation or you can call it relaxation. You can call it inner peace, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. As long as you take that time to take a few deep breaths and get quiet and still and peaceful. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to have thoughts. Doesn't mean you're suddenly going to blank your mind, because don't even think about trying to blank your mind, because all you're going to do is get a headache trying to do that.
I'm always wary about doing this on the show because I've been known to be hypnotized on this show.
Oh, really?
Yes, it has happened a couple of times. Not going to lie. So I'm always worried that, if I get too comfortable, I may actually put myself out. It's kind of funny that way.
Okay. I assure you, you won't go unconscious doing meditation, although you may fall asleep if you're really tired and then you get into a restful state during meditation. It's possible you might fall asleep, but there's no harm in that.
True. Kaysen here in our chat room says everyone has their own way of meditation. That's why Hinduism has like 112 methods of meditation. Is it about trying to find a meditation that works for us?
Yes. I mean, different people are different. Some people may find that it's more relaxing for them to take a walk outside in nature rather than sitting and closing their eyes and meditating. Some people might like repeating a mantra. Some people like to chant. Some people may like to do ecstatic dance. There are many different ways to meditate. There isn't just one way. There isn't a best way either. I think your caller is very smart because he or she said that everybody's different.
how do our bodies, or how do we know if our bodies are reacting to it?
Just because you feel relaxed, you start to relax and settle down, and you just feel a sense of well-being inside. If you're feeling that sense of well-being, then you are definitely in a meditative state.
Sometimes my mind delves into these, and I'm looking for questions, and I get stuck here. So for you, as you teach people how to meditate, what's the ideal scenario? Is it lying in bed? Is it sitting on the floor with your legs crossed, walking barefoot in grass, or in my case right now, snow? What's the best way to do it?
The answer is yes to all of those things. I do not necessarily recommend lying down, though, because that, for some people, that may tend to just put them to sleep. And if you want to actually meditate and not just take a nap, it might be better to be seated or to walk, or some of these other positions might be better for you. Generally, the most important thing about meditation, if you're going to close your eyes and go into a meditative state that way, the most important thing is comfort. Be comfortable. Either sit in a comfortable chair or have some pillows behind you and have back support. Generally, people are not comfortable in a pretzel position in the middle of the floor with their spine erect, trying to keep themselves upright and stiff. That is not really conducive to a meditative state. Comfort is what is conducive to a meditative state. So find a comfortable chair or a comfortable place to sit where you feel supported, where the temperature is good, where you won't be a lot of noise around, without a lot of noise around, where the people won't be knocking on your door and bothering you. So a quiet and peaceful place that's comfortable. That's what I would recommend if you're going to do the meditation where you're closing your eyes and going deep within.
Dr. Susan Shumsky is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have under 2 minutes to go here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. The rat race that we see every day in life has brought a lot of stress on people. Is there different meditations to calm the mind compared to calming the stress, or is it all one and the same?
Well, our state of mind and our state of body are very intertwined. So if you are stressed, you're going to experience hypertension. You're going to have problems with the heart, for example. So the mind and the body are very, very connected to each other. So if you get into a peaceful state of mind, your body will relax. If the body relaxes, the mind will be more peaceful. So both ways, the mind and the body are going together into this meditative state, into this state of peacefulness. And like I said, I think guided meditation is the easiest way to do it, because then you don't have to know how to do it. You just follow the instructions step by step. And guided meditations gives you instructions every second. You just listen to or read the instructions and you go into the meditative state automatically without trying to do anything. That's why I call it the do nothing program.
That sounds lazy.
Oh, it's wonderful. The lazy way to meditate. I love it. Maybe that'll be the title of my next book, The Lazy Way to Meditate. Or the title could be The Do Nothing Program, and then the subtitle, The Lazy Way to Meditate.
Well, I know we're going to have some audience questions when we return here from the break in hour number 2. So I am looking forward to that. And I already see one from Ange in Australia, which we will get to when we return. Dr. Susan Shumsky is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're hanging on out, finding our Zen and our Chi. Why not? We could all use some peace at this time during the world's events going on. And who knows? Maybe we'll find it tonight. But you got to stay tuned to Spaced Out Radio with Dr. Susan Shumsky. Coming up next in hour 2. All right, we're clear for 6 minutes.
All right, I'll just take a break then.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Full Circle, Florida. Best time to find your Zen is when you have an erection, he says. Very nice. Very, very nice. Looking at your picture, it looks like you have hair like Ogie Oglethorpe, which I can respect. So that's kind of cool. Let's see here. You didn't think I would post that, did you? Well, I did, because I'm that guy. All right. Let's see. Chad Smith and Fabster arguing over who's a better Chad Smith. I don't know. That's a tough call right there. Akryong, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Too much information. Nice to have you back, buddy. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Just like Grover back in the day, remember? Super Grover. Love Super Grover. Yeah, the Desert Clam. Thank you for a great chat word or chat there. All right. Little Marky Spender is saying that we shouldn't pull a General Lee over top of the some of these washouts. I don't know if I agree with that, Little Marky Spender, but it is what it is. Oh, hey, Clam. All right. Aussie Rob, how's tomorrow looking? And how's them ham hocks? Please let us know. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Chad Smith. Appreciate that. I wish you weren't Eastern time. I'm like asleep. There she is, everyone. The gorgeous and lovely Amy Vegas O. She has returned. And when you're in Vegas, she can marry you too. She has her license. So if you want to get married in Vegas, hit up Amy Vegas O. She can get her done. Mm-hmm. We got hookups for everything around here. We do. It's the way we roll around here. We've got a couple of minutes left, my friend. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Let's see here. I gotta get our questions lined up here. Did I miss anybody while I was chatting away? Oh, there. We got about 2 minutes, my friend. 2 minutes. Are you having fun yet, Dr. Susan?
I'm enjoying this tremendously.
Thank you.
Great fun.
Thank you. I'm enjoying this too.
Good.
All right. Ham's good, Ham Hawk. Thank you, Ozzy Rob. Appreciate that. All right, a big thank you to Chad Smith, Thomas Fessler, Anonymous Rex, and Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much. Really do appreciate it. And it's a great way to support, once again, what we do. And don't forget, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. We're so close to 14,000 subscribers. We're like, I don't know, like 150 or less away. We can do this. By the end of December, I want 14,000. I think we could get it by the end of November, but that's just me. Maybe I'm being greedy. I do not know, but really appreciate it. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, and then, of course, after the show, do us a favor, leave a comment what you thought of tonight's show. We'd greatly appreciate that. And if you haven't followed us on TikTok yet, please do so at Spaced Out Radio. Check us on out. Hit that subscribe. We'd appreciate it. It's kind of the way we roll. And on all other social media outlets as well, if you haven't already. And let's see here. We got about 15 seconds. So let's sit back, relax, and get ready. We're going to start some radio here momentarily. Mr. Bumblefoot just warming up his guitar. And here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Idiopraxist. Idiopraxist is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as a clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, at Spaced Out Radio on TikTok, and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Dr. Susan Shumsky is here tonight on the big show as we are talking about divine revelations. What is going on with our bodies, our meditations, our ability to heal ourselves. Her website, drsusan.org. I highly suggest you check it on out. You can look at any major bookstore for her books. There's about 20 of them that you can add to your collection. Dr. Susan, welcome back.
I'm excited.
Me too.
To continue to talk with you, Dave.
Well, we're going to talk with some of our audience now. We're going to go right down to Australia, where the lovely and talented Ange is asking, Dr. Susan, I am learning to meditate with my eyes open. What do you think about this technique?
Whatever works for you. Eyes open, eyes closed, can be either way. If you close your eyes, what happens is the senses immediately go inward, because generally when our eyes are open, all of our senses are seeking in the outer world, seeking, looking, this. When we close our eyes, it's it's like takes a 180-degree turn within. So immediately you start going inward into a deep state of meditation. So if you want to have a deep, deep state of meditation, I recommend eyes closed. But you can also meditate with eyes open. As a matter of fact, there are methods like in my book, Third Eye Meditation. My book, Awaken Your Third Eye. I have a book called Awaken Your Third Eye. And in that book, there are tons and tons of exercises to help you open your third eye, which is in the center of your brain, by the way, in the pineal gland. And one of those techniques is actually staring at a candle. It's a very ancient technique from India that has been done for centuries. And it can help you to focus. It helps your concentration, and it takes you into a meditative state. So obviously your eyes are open when you're doing that, or when you are gazing at people's auras, for example, which I teach in another book that I wrote, which is called The Power of Auras. There are also tons of techniques in that book for helping you to develop your, shall we call it, second sight or sixth sense or third eye. There's a lot of names for it.
Wow. All right, let's go over to Thin Lizzy. What do you think of guided past life meditation?
Oh, that can be very powerful because a lot of our phobias and hang-ups that we have in this lifetime are due to experiences in past lives. So a guided past life regression or guided meditation to help you to go into your past life, that can be very helpful. In my book, Divine Revelation, I do have a method like that to help you to discover past lives. Now, the way that I do past life regression is I ask the person to think about that phobia or whatever the hang-up is, whether it's fear of heights or fear of claustrophobia, whatever fears you might have that you want to work on, or possibly you have a hang up in a relationship, maybe with your spouse. There's some kind of conflict there. So what I ask people to do when I do a past life regression is that you just get into that feeling, whatever the phobia is. Let's say the phobia is afraid of you're going to fall out of a plane. So what you would do is you would get into that feeling. You'd feel that fear and just get yourself into like a frenzied state of that fear. Imagine yourself falling from the plane, or imagine whatever that fear is, and get into just the most tense and stressed out place you possibly can do. And then just say, Spirit, show me the first time I ever had this experience in a past life. And then just get quiet and allow Spirit to show you that past life. And so you'll see yourself in the past life. You'll see what clothes you're wearing. You'll see your surroundings. And then you ask Spirit, please play the movie for me. Just show me what's going on. And then it'll be like an inner motion picture or something that you'll see within. You'll see what happened then in that past life. And that is the source. That's the reason why you have this fear. And then you might do an affirmation or a prayer, just something like, I know that I'm safe. I no longer need to be afraid to fly in a plane. It is safe to fly in a plane. I'm not going to fall out of the plane. Just some affirmations like that. And then just take some deep breaths and come out of the meditation, and you'll feel better and you'll have less fear of flying.
Chad Smith needs that because he has an absolute deathly fear of flying. So, Chad, you better replay that many a time, man, because when we have the Vegas party for Spaced Out Radio, you need to be there. All right. I want to ask you, in regards to the past life meditation regression, I don't understand, and maybe I'm thinking too simplistically here, or maybe I'm naive, but I don't understand how you can have past life meditation on a life that's already passed.
It's just it's a remembering. It's not like you're living the past life again. What you're doing is you're recalling. The past life regression meditation helps you to recall what happened in that past life. That's all it is. It's just bringing up a memory that has been lost. When we get born into the womb that we were born into, our past lives disappear. We don't remember them generally, unless we develop that ability, or if we have some natural psychic ability, for example, we might remember. Some people do remember their past lives.
All right, that makes sense. Let's go over to Xochitl, who is asking, what practice is best to grow your chi?
Okay, chi is prana. Chi means the life force energy. In China, they call it chi. In India, they call it prana. In Japan, they call it ki. It's said in the ancient scriptures of India that when prana is in the body, that is what is defined as life. And when prana leaves the body, that is what is defined as death. So prana is what gives you motion, and it gives you heat. When you're dead, there's no motion and there's no heat. So prana is what brings that into your being, into your subtle body. Prana is flowing through your subtle body. So prana is what keeps you alive. And to increase your prana is in several things. Prana is in the air that you breathe. Prana is in water. Prana is in the mind. And I forget what else. It may come to me in a minute. So let's just go through these. So prana is in food. So in food, the best way to get the most prana out of your food is to chew the food until it becomes liquid. So that's the way to get a lot of prana or chi from your food. And then in the air, a way to get more prana is to practice breathing exercise like pranayama. They call it pranayama, is breathing exercise. And breathing exercise could just be something simple like this, where you're breathing out and then in, and then you close the other nostril and then out and in, and then you close that nostril and then out and in. That's called alternate breathing exercise. So just with one hand, you do it with the thumb and with these two fingers. The thumb and these two fingers, you close that nostril, breathe out, and then breathe in, and then close the other nostril and out and in. You just need one hand to do it. So that kind of exercise can help create more prana flowing through your subtle body, and also it helps you to become more balanced. Makes you feel more centered and integrated when you do that, what's called pranayama, that particular one, the alternate breathing exercise. So prana is in the food, prana is in the water. So water, drinking water, and also bathing and swimming. Water around your body and also drinking the water, that increases prana.
Interesting.
So prana is in the water, prana is in the food, prana is in the air, and prana is in the mind. When you are in deep meditation, when you go very, very deep in meditation and the breathing becomes very quiet, when the breathing becomes very, very quiet and subtle, then more prana is flowing through your, what we call nadi. In India, they call it nadi, and in China, they call it meridian. So prana is flowing through your subtle body in those tubes, energy tubes that are called either nadi or meridian. And when many of those nadi or meridian intersect, that's called chakra. Chakra. And that means wheel. It's a wheel because it has a hub of pranic energy, and it has spokes of radiating pranic energy from that hub. So that's the subtle energy system consists of prana and these energy tubes, and then the chakras.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I had to adjust my nose there. I couldn't breathe out of my one nostril. The beautiful part.
Well, usually one nostril is more clogged than the other. And every 110 minutes, the body automatically switches from one nostril to the other, being clearer. So at any given time, we always have one nostril that is more open than the other one. And the left nostril is more about internal experience. And it has to do with the parasympathetic nervous system. It's connected to the parasympathetic. And then the right nostril is connected to the sympathetic nervous system. And that one is more about get up and go.
See, I had a little problem with my nose playing hockey. So I am down to less than 10% breathing out of both nostrils.
I see. Okay.
Yes. My septum is extremely deviated. And surgery didn't work, and I will not do that surgery again because it was way too painful. Way too painful.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't ever recommend. Like, these people who go for nose jobs, morons. Morons. Absolute morons.
Don't mess with your nose, right?
No, it's painful. All right, let's go to another question from Xochitl, because we love saying her name on here. What does it feel like when you awaken your Kundalini? And before you answer that, there's a lot of people out there listening who may not know what the Kundalini is. I would love it if you took some time to explain that before answering this question.
So Kundalini comes from a Sanskrit word, kundal. Kundal means curled up, coiled up or curled up energy. And this curled up energy is at the base of your spine, below your first chakra, your root chakra. There's another thing called the root bulb, and that's where Kundalini is. And Kundalini in average people who are not really very intellectually inclined, who are just, all they do is eat, sleep, and have sex, and they're not really interested in anything intellectual or anything having to do with learning or knowledge, their Kundalini is sleeping. And it's explained in the scriptures of ancient India. It says that it's coiled around 3.5 times with head down, Kundalini. In other words, it's like a serpent. It's called the serpent power. And it's a coiled up energy, 3.5 times, head down. That means asleep. Anyone who has any interest in intellectual things, anyone who's listening to this podcast, definitely their Kundalini has risen to some degree, or they wouldn't even be interested in the types of topics that we're discussing. They wouldn't be interested in anything like that, as a matter of fact. So Kundalini goes up through a specific nadi. Remember I was talking about those tubes of energy? There's a specific nadi. It's called Sushumna nadi. And when Kundalini wakes up, it goes through the Sushumna nadi. It opens up your chakras as it goes up through your body and comes up to the crown chakra, and you become awakened. So that's what Kundalini is. And what was the question again? They wanted to know.
The question is,
how do you
what does
know?
it feel like?
How do you know? What experiences you have?
How do you know when you've awakened your Kundalini?
Well, like I said, all of you have Kundalini awakened to a great degree, or you wouldn't be interested in this. So, but the experience of Kundalini, they did ask about that. So it can come in many different ways. If you are absolutely pure, you won't experience any discomfort whatsoever when Kundalini awakens. In fact, you won't feel anything. All you'll feel is illumined, and you'll feel unbounded awareness, and you'll feel ecstatic. But if there are blockages in the Sushumna Nadi as Kundalini is going up through it, if there are blockages, then you may feel discomfort. It's possible you'll feel something like ants going up your spine, or you may feel electricity going up your spine. You may feel fire, like fire is going up your spine. These are some experiences that people have when their Kundalini is waking up. It may not just be the spine, by the way. It can be through your whole body.
Makes a lot of sense. Let's go to codes of the earth. Sometimes when I meditate, I tend to pull a muscle in certain areas of my body. Does that mean I am doing it wrong?
Well, I think I would ask how comfortable that person is when they're sitting to meditate. Like I said, the most important thing about meditation is comfort. So I certainly wouldn't sit in the middle of the floor in lotus position. It definitely wouldn't be comfortable for me to do that. And I don't think it's comfortable for most people, unless you happen to have a really strong core and you've been practicing yoga for 20 years or something. Maybe then you would feel really comfortable sitting in the middle of the floor with no back support. But in general, it's best to have plenty of pillows and to be really comfortable and to just kind of feel like you're sitting in a cloud. And then you'll just be more comfortable when you meditate. And I don't see how you would pull a muscle.
Well, Kira made a comment on here. Sometimes we have muscle memory and hanging on to emotions in our muscles, working out the kinks in those. Could that be possible?
That's a very good point that you brought up, because my guru, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, he used to often talk about something called stress release or unstressing or unwinding, he would call it. So when you're in a very deep meditative state, it's possible that you might be resolving some issues from past lives or traumas that are held in the body. And as those release, you get some discomfort. And you may even feel a tense muscle tensed up and then finally relaxing if you stick with it. It will just go away. And the best way to deal with that in meditation, if you do feel like your muscle is cramped or stressed or something, is stop whatever you were doing. If you're repeating a mantra, just stop it. Or if you're doing some other practice, just stop it. And then just quietly place your attention on that sensation of the muscle, of the tweaked muscle, or whatever that pain or that sensation is that's uncomfortable. Just allow your attention to be on that without trying to manipulate it or change it. Just rest your awareness on that sensation and just consider it a sensation rather than a pain. Don't make a judgment about it. In other words, just rest your attention on it. Maharishi used to call that feeling the body. Just feel the body. And allow yourself to just quietly, the attention is there. And it will tend to dissipate if you do that.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. As we continue on here with Dr. Susan Shumsky, we got about 90 seconds left before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. I'm going to hold off on any more questions until we get through the break here. For you, as you teach people, how many people have you taught this practice throughout the years?
Well, I can't really say, because almost everything I teach is through my books. So whoever reads the books learns from me. But as far as what I've done personally, I have done over 700 personal appearances, and those are basically workshops. And I have done over 1,300 media interviews, and I'm teaching in the media interviews as well, just like I'm doing tonight.
Perfect. Because the one thing that I always wonder is, how is the message getting through to people? Because I think that's very important for a lot of people, is trying to figure out, how does this work for me? How can I use this in my daily life. And I guess that's what you're trying to break through as well.
I'm trying to just make it really practical and down to earth. And that's why my books are all how-to books, and they're very simple, easy to understand, and step by step by step, just follow these instructions and you'll get the results. And it works. I mean, my most beloved book, by the way, is Instant Healing, because that is a total no-brainer. People just read the affirmations and they get the instant results. And so that's the most positively on Amazon reviewed, most positively.
Dr. Susan Shumsky, we got her for another hour here on Spaced Out Radio. We're having a great time tonight, taking your questions in the audience in our chat rooms. We'll continue with Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, we got 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, 5 minutes. All right, I'll get up and walk around.
I'm just going to disappear. I got to go to the bathroom here. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. My dog has now joined us. Doug is here. Come here, Doug. you come say hi? Can you come say hi? No? Or are you going to go lay down? All right. All right. We have about 1 minute. Excuse me. All right. I want to say a big thank you to Chad, Thomas, Rex, and Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, so thank you very much for your love and support of the mighty SOR. We're going to continue with audience questions when we return here. And, we're having some fun here with Dr. Susan Shumsky tonight. And I do have some cough candies here if you need some, But, I just can't reach them through the screen. That's a little bit of a problem. We need to figure out that stuff here. All right, here we go, everyone. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bubblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. And if you haven't yet, hit us up on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We got a couple of videos up there. We're going to be putting more out soon. All right, we continue on with Dr. Susan Shumsky tonight. drsusan.org is her website, where we highly suggest you go check it on out. You can find her books at any major bookstore across North America. And we're talking divine revelation tonight. Let's get into our Zen, our Chi. I think we've got our Chi done. We got to find our Zen now. And we're going to start off with a question right from Xochitl once again. She is packed with questions tonight, and that's quite okay. She's asking, why does my lower body feel like it's swaying when I meditate?
Okay, so in my book, Awaken Your Divine Intuition, this book here, and also in my book, Divine Revelation, in both these books, I talk about something called signals. The divine beings that we contact and communicate with will give us specific signals. They're like identity badges. And each divine being that we're in touch with will give us a separate signal or sign. And the signals will come in one of 6 ways, either seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, feeling, or getting an involuntary body movement. So those are the 6 various ways that we could receive a signal. For example, seeing, we might see with our eyes closed, I'm talking about. We might see with our inner eye a light of a particular color, or we may see a symbol, such as we might see a tree or a cross or a Star of David or a flower or something. We're seeing that with our inner eye. Or we're seeing some in some part of our body, we might be seeing some light or something. So that would be a visual signal. We could get an auditory signal, means hearing, for example, hearing a flute or harps or angels singing or music of the spheres. We'll hear something when there's nothing in the environment for us to hear, but we're hearing that. Another way would be olfactory, where we're something fragrance is coming into our sensing. It could be rose, lilac, gardenia, sandalwood. So we're smelling something, or we're tasting something in the back of our throat or in our mouth when we haven't eaten anything. Maybe we'll taste a peach or a plum or an orange or something, or some taste we've never experienced before. And that will come into our mouth. Another is to have a sensation, physical sensation, that feeling something, like you may feel electricity going through your body. You may feel tingling in somewhere, maybe in an extremity or someplace. You may feel blissful energy flowing through your body. You may feel heat. You may feel a cool breeze. Any kind of sensation going through your body. That's another way to get a signal. And seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling. And then another way is through getting an involuntary movement. Like, for example, your head may rock, your head may go back and forth, your head may go this way, that way, your whole body may rock, your eyes might roll back in your head, your eyelashes might flutter, you might shake or quake. You've heard of the Shakers and the Quakers. There's a reason why they were given those names. So these are all signals or signs. And these signals, like I said, they're like an identity badge. So, for example, you may have a signal for Jesus. And every time that you're in contact with Jesus, you'll get that same signal. It will come to you. Every time you have a communication with Jesus, you'll get the same experience. And so what you're experiencing is one of those signals. And you can always ask, what is your name? Ask who is there. And ask, do you come in the name of God? Ask, do you come in the name of God? Or you can ask, do you come in the name of the Christ? And then make sure that they answer in a positive way. And then you can be communicating with that being who is giving you that signal. And the signals are ecstatic experiences. They're always pleasant experiences. If that being is a true spiritual being coming from the spiritual world, they'll give you a very positive, a very blissful experience as their signal, along with their signal.
All right, let's move to another question. Thin Lizzie is asking, have you ever heard of people doing acupuncture on their third eye? If so, what does it do?
I am not familiar with that. The acupuncture is done on these chakras, really meridian points that are throughout your body. And one of those points is the third eye. And I'm not an acupuncturist, so I don't know what that point is, what it does when they put the when they put the needle there. I actually don't know what it does.
Me either.
You have to ask an acupuncturist that question.
All right, let's go to Brazelhov, who is asking, when entering the vibrational state, I often hear what sounds like muffled explosions. Is this normal?
As a matter of fact, that is one of the Kundalini symptoms. Explosions are, hearing explosion is a sign of awakening Kundalini.
Let's go to Stephen. My younger brother broke his neck, his C6, in a car accident 8 years ago. Will that affect his chakra? He's doing fine in a wheelchair now.
Okay, so the chakras are not in our physical body. They're in our subtle body. So the chakras, so we have several sheaths or layers to our body. We have the physical body, which is called the Annamaya Kosha, which means food sheath, because it's made of food, sustained by food, and becomes food for something else after we're gone. So that's why it's called the Annamaya Kosha, or food sheath. That's our physical body. Then we have something called the Pranamaya Kosha. That is our prana sheet, or the sheath of chi. I talked about that. I said that in the subtle body is where prana flows through that subtle body, and it's called the Pranamaya Kosha, that pranic sheath. And that's one of our subtle bodies. And then we have the Manomaya Kosha, which is the mental, emotional body. And that's where our senses are. Very interesting. If you've heard of the near-death experience, certainly you've all heard of the near-death experience. And those who have had the near-death experience, often they will describe that their body is lying there and that they're up on the ceiling somewhere looking down at their body while people are trying to resuscitate them. So what is looking? What is looking from? What are they looking from? Their eyes are down there in that body that's on the gurney. So who is seeing? That indicates that our senses, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, feeling, are not in our physical body. They're in our subtle body. And that's called Manomaya Kosha, the mental, emotional body. That's where our senses are. And then another sheath is called the Jnanamaya Kosha, which is our intellect body. Intellect and ego is in that body. And then there is the Anandamaya Kosha, which is our causal body. Now, what was the question again? I knew that I'm going somewhere with this.
Oh, goodness. Let me go find it here. Let me go find it. I believe it was... I'm just almost there. Bear with me.
Yeah, we lost the train of thought there as I went
room,
into all the sheaths.
The chat room is just moving so fast here. Let's see here.
Well, maybe they could just type it again.
Okay.
So you can see it.
I believe this was about the wheelchair and the chakra, right?
Exactly. So as I was trying to describe, prana is in this subtle body. It's not in our gross physical body. Even though it is what causes the body to be alive, even though it causes motion and it causes heat in the physical body, and even though it regulates the physical body and keeps it alive and keeps it going, it is not in the physical body. So even though a person is paralyzed or a person has a physical malady, that does not prevent them from their chakras being bright and vibrant, and it does not prevent Kundalini from going up the spine. Kundalini is much smarter than that. Kundalini can overcome the malady of the physical form.
Okay, let's go to Black Dragon, who is asking, can you get that electrical feeling in your body without meditation?
Yeah, people get Kundalini experiences without being in a meditative state. People can get all kinds of spiritual experiences without being in a meditative state. Everything that I teach, by the way, is based upon one principle, and that is ask and it shall be given unto you. So if you ask, and by the way, asking audibly is much better than just asking in your head. If you ask for something, then you will receive it. So claiming it, affirming it, asking for it, praying for it, often you'll get, like I said, for example, in this book, Instant Healing. Where's my book, Instant Healing? In that book, that's filled with 243 affirmative prayers or affirmations that get instant results. And you're not in meditation when you're saying them. You're just speaking them, and it works.
Okay, let's move on here to another question. And this one comes from Mark. any truth that sun gazing helps your intuition?
I've heard of sun gazing helping your eyesight, actually. It can help you. And I've also heard of it being a spiritual practice as well. And it's not something that I've really practiced much. I did it when I was quite young. I did it a little bit, but there is some tradition to it. It is done in India, in spiritual traditions of India. Sun gazing is a thing. Now, I wouldn't really necessarily recommend that people do that without instruction, because you can actually damage your eye if you don't know what you're doing. So I would say, if you want to do that, learn from a master who knows what they're talking about.
Okay, let's get to Codes of the Earth. Ever since I got into meditation, I became really sensitive to everything nowadays. What can I do to balance out that feeling? I like this question.
It's a great question. And I wrote a book exactly about that whole thing. It's called Earth Energy Meditations. That's the book, which is filled with affirmations and prayers to help you to overcome oversensitivity. It's about not being an energy sponge, not being so highly sensitive that it's difficult to live in the world. As a matter of fact, some people become drug addicts because of their oversensitivity. I think that's the main cause of drug addiction, is people who are overly sensitive. They want to self-medicate. They want to dull themselves. And that's the reason why they become addicted to drugs. So do this affirmation daily, and it will change your life. And here's the affirmation. I am in control. I am one with God. I am the only authority in my life. I am divinely protected by the light of my being. I close off my aura and body of light to the lower astral levels of mind, and I open to the spiritual world. Thank you, God, and so it is. If you use that affirmation on a daily basis, you will gain control over the oversensitivity, and you will find that it will change your life.
Let's move on here to another question. This one comes from Zochili again, and Kira. They would like to know what the tuning in the ears means. Sounds like tuning a radio.
Well, it could be tinnitus, which is a physical ailment, or it could be that signal that I was talking about. That is an example of a possible signal or sign. So when you get that, ask for the name. When you get the signal, ask for the name. When you get the name, ask for the signal. When you get the name and the signal, ask for the message. That's the technique of listening to the still small voice within.
That little voice, I do not think a lot of people pay attention to. I like to call it, and maybe I call it something a little bit different, I call it the soul voice. And
that's a good name for it.
That voice, I will tell you, when I started opening up spiritually, it was very, very stern with me. And I didn't pay attention. It almost killed me once. And sent my ATV down a hill, tumbling about 250 feet down a mountain. And I tell you, I listen to that voice all the time now. All the time.
That's good. That's good.
You know, I mean, but I needed that kick in the butt. I needed that. You know, because here's the thing that I have noticed is that soul voice, at least in my experiences, will never steer you wrong.
That's right.
You know, like everybody says, listen to your heart. The heart is always wrong. Your soul never is. And
Right.
and at least in my life, that's the way it's been. So how do we get tuned in to that little voice? Because there's a lot of people out there, Dr. Susan, who claim that they can't hear it.
Right. So it takes practice. It's just like learning how to play the piano. It's a skill. It's a learnable, teachable skill. And when you first try to play the piano, it doesn't sound very good. You make a lot of mistakes, and people don't want to listen to it. But then, when you get better at it, you're not making mistakes, and it flows, and it's easy. So, similarly, intuition is a learnable, teachable skill. So, it takes practice, and it takes regular practice. So, what I recommend is beginning that dialogue. Start to talk to your higher self or to a divine being and call upon that divine being by name and communicate with them and ask questions and get answers on a daily basis and practice, practice, practice. And don't be afraid to make a mistake. Just like when you're playing the piano, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Fine, you made a mistake. That's okay. Brush yourself off. Continue. And practice, practice, practice. So you can develop that skill. It's a skill that you can develop. And that's why I recommend just meditate. And so here's how to do it. So first of all, start out by taking some deep breaths. Call upon a divine being. Ask that divine being by name and say it aloud, not just in your head. Speak audibly and talk to that divine being and ask them to take you deep into meditation and ask them to speak to you. Okay, so take some deep breaths. Taking the deep breaths will help you to relax and get into the meditative state. So after you've taken some deep breaths, you'll feel more relaxed, you'll get quiet, you'll feel more still. That's the time to do something that people generally do not do when they meditate. In general, people they're very passive. They just go into this state and they're passive and they don't do anything. What I'm asking that you do is that when you are in that deep meditative state, do something that you don't normally do, and that is ask. Ask a question or ask for guidance or ask for inspiration, ask for healing, ask for inner peace, ask for whatever it is you want to ask, or ask a specific question. You might say, Spirit, please tell me what is highest wisdom for me to do about my son who is addicted to cocaine. Or you could ask a question, Spirit, please tell me what is highest wisdom for me to do about the fact that I'm having conflict with my husband. So ask very specific questions. And after you've asked your question, take another big, deep breath, and then do what I call the do nothing program. That means do nothing, nothing and less than nothing, and allow the still small voice to give you the answer to your question. And you'll receive the answer in one of three ways. Either visually, in other words, you'll see in your inner eye, you'll see a vision that answers your question, or you'll hear in your inner ear, you'll hear some words. You'll hear actually some words that are fed coming into your mind. Or you will get a feeling, like a gut feeling. You'll just have this sensing or this feeling. Those are the three basic ways that we receive the message from Spirit when we're in meditation. There are other ways to receive messages from Spirit. You can use divination. You could use dowsing. You could see a billboard. That's called omenology. There's a lot of ways to receive messages. But when you're in meditation and you're intentional, you're intending to do it, you're intending to develop your intuition, ask and receive. And you will receive through one of those three ways: seeing, hearing, or feeling. And it is done at will. Everything I teach about intuition is something that's done at will, not willy-nilly. Oh, well, I had an experience one time. I don't know how it came to me. I'm talking about intentional and at will, developing this ability. Anyone can do it. It's just like anybody can learn to play the piano. It just takes practice.
Yeah. Try being 48 trying to learn how to play guitar. That's tough. I can tell you that. Mm-hmm. And it sucks, but I'm battling through. Totally battling through.
But being 48 or whatever age you are and learning how to listen to the still small voice, that ain't tough. That's easy.
Very true.
Easy peasy.
Dr.
Very
Susan,
easy.
I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We have Dr. Susan Shumsky from drsusan.org for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. Then at the bottom of the hour, we're going to warm up the Magic 8 Ball and get a little psychic to end the show. Here we go. Beautiful. Beautiful.
All right. Well, those were really good questions.
Oh, we will continue. The audience is loving you tonight.
Oh, good. So
yes.
Glad. Yeah, lots of questions. Great.
That's how we roll around here. We're those lots of questions type of people. All right. Where is Hercule? Where do I have Shirky Poo here? There we go. Yeah, I can't believe we only have like 73 people watching. This has been a good show. Good show. Don't know why. And let me just try. Where are we here? I'll have to wait on that. All right, I think we're good. All right, hey GR, how are you? Welcome back to the show. And yes, free Vinny, free Rye Guy. Where are they? Ross Lambda, good to see you. Hey, Sonny, what are you still doing awake, buddy? Chad Smith getting you up at ungodly hours like that? I think the ringing tone, Susan, that they were talking about, because I used to get this quite a bit too, is when it's like tinnitus, but all of a sudden you hear that you almost hear like a tone deaf sound, and then like a tinnitus type of ring in your head, and you can actually tell spirit to turn it down, and they will turn it down and shut it off. Had that happen.
That's a good point.
We had a guest on, Jonathan Davies from the UK. He's an ET experiencer. A couple weeks ago, and and he had it happen during the show. I said, just tell him to turn it off, please. Just say it like that. And he's like, does that work? And I'm like, yeah. He tried it.
Yeah,
it turned right off.
It totally works.
Totally works.
That's what you learn through dowsing, is that you can do anything. You just ask for it and it happens.
It is good. All right, we got 90 seconds. Thank you for that awesome super chat, the gorgeous and talented Kira, with a 333. I see what you did there. Well, the way my community is going right now, with everybody hoarding food again, literally, meditation is going to be my only food here for a while. No, I got lots of food upstairs. Excuse me. All right, we got about 45 seconds. All right, big thank you to Kira, Chad Smith, Thomas, Rex, and Kat Chaser for the amazing super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And don't forget, you can do some shopping at our website, spacedoutradio.com. Here we go with hour 3.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. And a big thank you to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Just go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. The only thing I ask for in return is hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Idiopraxis. Idiopraxis is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. And we're new to TikTok. Go to @SpacedOutRadio and add us there as well. For the final time tonight, we introduce Dr. Susan Shumsky. She's an award-winning author. You can find any of her books at any major bookstore on anything to do with healing, chakras, the body, mind, soul. Find your Zen and Chi with her at drsusan.org. Thank you so much, Doc. We appreciate you coming on in.
Thank you for inviting me.
Earlier on, you were talking about near-death experiences, so I wanted to ask you about out-of-body experiences and as well as astral travel. How does this affect the body?
I wouldn't say that astral travel is a good idea. It's better to stay in your body. Astral travel weakens you. The body and the soul should be connected to each other, unless you're dying or dead. It's better to stay in the confines of your body. However, when you meditate, your consciousness expands, and you can become one with the universe and become very big, shall we say, or the experience within is a feeling of being as big, as large, and vast as the entire universe. Because the reality is, you are present everywhere already. So when you go deep into meditation, you're just experiencing your true nature, which is everywhere present. Maharishi used to call it being here, there, and everywhere within this, that, and everything.
Okay, so what about channeling?
Channeling, well, it depends on how you define channeling. Because you can receive messages from one of four places: the spiritual world, the mental world, the astral world, or the environmental world. So you could receive guidance or wisdom or inspiration or messages from the spiritual world, which means you're in contact with divine beings, deities, angels, archangels, and light beings, or your deceased relatives who have gone into the light after death. That would be the spiritual world. People call it heaven, heavenly realm, spiritual realm. That's the place I recommend you get your messages from. But then there's three other places that people might be getting messages from. One is the mental world. Basically, you're talking to yourself. You're being influenced by your past habits, conditioning, beliefs, subconscious ideas. Much of what's called channel material, quote unquote, is coming from the mental world. It isn't really channeled at all. Then there is what we call the astral plane. I call it the astral plane. And that's where you don't want to get messages from there, because the beings who are in the astral plane are earthbound spirits, lost souls, people who did not go into the light after death for any number of reasons. I've counted 15 reasons why a soul doesn't go into the light after death. So you don't really want to be speaking to those beings. They're in ignorance, and they might even be faker spirits. They may be pretending to be something they're not. They may take a very high-sounding name. They may give themselves like a biblical name so that you'll be impressed by them. But in fact, they are faker. They're frustrated beings who didn't get the attention they wanted or thought they deserved during their lifetime. So after their life, they may attach themselves to a living medium or channeler and become famous that way. And they aren't really a divine being at all. And then there's the fourth realm. As I said, there's four places you could get messages from: spiritual world, mental world, astral world, or environmental world. And environment means you're tapping into either the history of humanity, such as the Akashic records, or you're tapping into people's beliefs, the collective beliefs, collective unconscious of the human race, of humanity. So I recommend that you only get your messages from the spiritual world. But quote unquote channeling, people who call themselves quote unquote channelers, are not necessarily getting their messages from that spiritual realm. So you have to be careful.
Very true. Very true. When I channel, I haven't channeled in a long time, but when I did channel, the one thing that I noticed is the effects it actually took out on my body. The next day, I felt like I had a complete hangover.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I teach in my book, Awaken Your Divine Intuition, and in the book, Divine Revelation, I teach what I call the 10 tests of spiritual discernment. And one of those tests I call it the result test. So after you have received your message, after you have quote unquote channeled, you will either feel drained and hollow inside, or like a truck has hit you, or you will feel very full, very blissful. You'll feel wholeness, you'll feel unbounded awareness, you'll feel fantastic, and you'll feel energized. So one sure way to know that you have been in touch with the astral world, these are all beings that will drain you, is if you have the experience that you just described, Dave. If you have that experience, you were not in touch with the spiritual realm. You were in touch with the astral realm. And that's the way you will feel afterwards. You will feel drained.
Yes, I will agree with that. And I will tell you, the first time I channeled, which I had no idea what channeling even was, the next day I felt horrible. Felt like I didn't sleep at all, that I was sleeping on like a rock hard surface. My back was killing me, my neck was killing me, my arms were sore. It was an uncomfortable experience, that's for sure.
So that is just an indication that tells you that you were in touch with a being who did not have your best interests in mind. There can be demonic beings, there can be malefic beings, there can be just mischievous beings in the astral world. Or there can be these fakers who are pretending to be something else. And that is a dangerous situation, not something I recommend. And people who do that will die young.
It was actually the angel of death. And he told me how to keep my mother alive.
Oh,
and
did it work?
My mother's been alive for 10 years.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like a good experience to me.
And on December 13th this year, it'll be 10 years.
That's awesome.
A full decade of woo in my life on December 13th. But it beat the crap out of me. It really did. Let's get to a question here from Brazelhoff. If I want to get a refresher into meditation, what's an easy go-to method? It's been a long time.
Guided meditation. If you use guided meditation, it's a no-brainer. It's the Do Nothing program. So I recommend my book, Third Eye Meditations, or my book, Earth Energy Meditations. And there are several meditations in each of those books that are guided meditations. You can just get the audiobook if you wish, the person who reads the audiobook will guide you into meditation because they're reading the guided meditation from the book. Or you can make your own digital meditation simply by reading the words of the meditation from my book, recording it on a device, and then sitting comfortably, getting quiet and just sitting comfortably and just turn on your device and listen through your headphones, or even you don't even need headphones, and just listen and follow the instructions. It'll guide you into meditation step by step by step. Very simple. That's the easiest way to meditate.
No kidding. No kidding. All right. We have just a few minutes left with you, and I want to continue about, what's the difference between, sensory deprivation and meditation?
You're talking about like a sensory deprivation chamber you go into, saltwater thing? Or
Sure. Or a black room.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So no matter where you are, there you are. It doesn't matter if you are sitting in a subway, if you are walking down a crowded street, if you're in the middle of India with bullocks going past and people screaming from their carts that they're selling produce, or if you are on the banks of the Ganges River and the corpses are burning, or if you are in your room it doesn't matter where you are because you can't escape yourself. You're always right there. So where you meditate is not really an issue. It's the quality of your connection to spirit that is the key. And the best way to have that quality of experience, the best, most profound, beautiful experience of connection, is to ask for it and receive it. Everything I teach is based upon that one principle: ask and it shall be given unto you. And it takes practice. The more you practice, the better you get at it. It's a learnable, teachable skill.
All right. Chad is asking, are binaural beats good for meditation the whole time or just the beginning?
Well, yeah, that's a technology that seems to be effective for people, that seems to help them to meditate. It's not necessary to use that, though. I believe it's a good idea to be more self-sufficient and to have your own experience without having to rely upon the external. But then, of course, I'm also advocating guided meditation. So whatever works for you is what really is best. If you find that it's effective for you, then by all means, use it, do it. Whatever will get you into that state of deep relaxation and inner peace is okay by me. I think it's great.
How do you find your tranquility with such a tough world going on around us right now, where people just don't like people? We're tired of people.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because it is tough, especially with the pandemic. And a lot of people are really suffering with mental illness, actually, because of the pandemic, because of the isolation and the just dragging on month after month after month and year after year, the pandemic. It's a depressing situation. However, no matter what is going on in your external world, within yourself, in the center of your being, there is a place of perfect peace and tranquility that you can tap into simply by asking and simply by being open to delve into that and to experience that ocean of divine beingness, divine love, divine light. It's so amazing to go into a meditation and ask to be fed with divine love. Call upon a divine being by name, divine being that you trust, and ask for a feeding of divine love, and allow yourself to just be washed over with that beauteous divine love that penetrates your being, that fills you with so much joy, that gives you so much comfort and peace and wholeness and oneness. So it doesn't matter what's going on in the external world. You can be in a prison cell and be in bliss through meditation. It doesn't matter where you are. You can experience the divine presence, and it is an experience of ecstasy.
I can see that. Where does physical contact come into play with this? Because human beings always crave, for the most part, physical contact, whether it's a handshake, a fist bump. I refuse to acknowledge that idiotic elbow touching crap that they say that we should do during the pandemic. I think that's the most moronic thing out there. But,
I tend to agree.
We need,
with that.
as humans, we need to hug. We need to show love. We need to feel love. For many people out there, it's about sex. It's about, just getting the feeling of human touch and human feelings, because we're very touchy-feely creatures. And yet, for many of us, due to the current situation, we have not been able to connect on a physical level. How does this change? How do we work that back into the system?
Yeah, the thing is, that's a lot of the mental illness that I was actually describing as a result of this pandemic, is the isolation. And it's tragic, beyond tragic, that people had to die without having their families around them. It's so unnatural. It's ridiculous, actually. And unfortunately, that was the way that it was set up, is because physicians believed that that was the best way to try to contain this mess. But yeah, people need to have physical contact. They need to feel love. They need to experience love. You don't necessarily have to have sex in order to feel love and be loved and experience love with other people. But yeah, people generally want to have physical contact. And I'm glad to see that people are beginning to have physical contact again, because it's a healthy way to live, and we need that.
Definitely is. We have about 3.5 minutes to go with you tonight, and I want to say a big thank you to you for coming on in here on Spaced Out Radio. Oh, let me just go like this. Minor technical issue right now. Never mind.
Maybe I'll just...
We're here.
Oh, yes, you are. Okay.
Made a little boo-boo there. That's okay. We survived. That is my boo-boo of the night that I love. We only have about 3 minutes left with you tonight here on Spaced Out Radio. And I want to say this has been awesome. And I really appreciate you coming on. What's the biggest piece of advice that you could give our audience as they debate whether or not they want to go down the meditative road?
I would say to anybody who has a body and who's breathing that you are a human being, which is a very rare incarnation to get. You probably don't realize how rare it is to be born into a human body. The reason it's rare is because human beings have the unique capacity to be able to experience higher consciousness and to realize who they really are and to develop their spiritual self. So since you are breathing and walking around, it's a good idea to not waste this lifetime on trivia and on staring at your cell phone or whatever you're doing. It's best to make the best use of this body. And the best use of this body, to my mind, is to realize your true self, is to experience the divine presence within you, and to experience that, what we call Sat Chit Ananda, absolute bliss consciousness, and to realize that you are that. You are that divine being. You are that divine love, that divine light, that divine presence. It is within you. It is the indwelling spirit of God, which permeates, pervades, and surrounds your being. And that is who you really are. So spend your time in effort to realize that. And the best way to do that is through practice of some spiritual practice. Meditation is a good spiritual practice. It's the best, in my opinion.
We got 45 seconds left. Tell everybody where they can find your books and your website.
I have two major websites. One is drsusan.org, drsusan.org. And the other one is divinetravels.com. That's DIVINETRAVELS. That's plural on the travels. Divinetravels.com. Check out the tours to sacred destinations and cruise ship seminars that we're doing on divinetravels.com.
That is wonderful. Dr. Susan Shumsky, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. What an absolute pleasure to meet with you and to introduce you and your knowledge to our audience. Very much a pleasure.
And it was a great pleasure to speak with you, Dave. I really, really enjoyed it. You're a fantastic host, and wonderful people in the audience. Fantastic questions. I loved it.
Appreciate it. Coming up next, we're going to warm up the Magic 8 Ball. Let's get all psychic here as we take this thing home on Spaced Out Radio. Wonderful show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just enjoyed it so much. It was like fun.
It flew on by. Flew on by. Yeah. I will let you go so I can prepare for my Magic 8 Ball. And we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much, Dr. Susan.
And thank you. Thanks again.
Good night.
Good night.
Wonderful interview. I like her. She's so nice. She's so nice. Excuse me. Renegade Uno, welcome back to the show. Rock Lobster. Rock Lobster. Rock Lobster. Love that song. There's some good cowbell in that song, too. People underestimate the power of Rock Lobster's cowbell. 54 Pa on Twitter, a.k.a. that's Grandpa Holland on Twitch, pardon me. There he is. Grandpa Holland on Twitch. He's got his Les Paul out. It's going to be rocking. You could just hear Luscious Jules in the background. Rock la ha ha lobster, rock la ha ha lobster. Oh yeah, I could see Jules singing back there. Look at you. There's Grandpa Holland back in the chat room. He owns my favorite dream guitar. Well, one of my favorites. I love this guitar. Oh, I love that guitar. I got to show you guys this. This is an incredible photo of Grandpa Holland here. He did this on purpose. Totally did this on purpose. Because he knew I'd love it and I would hate it at the same time. There he is. Look at that. This is from his Facebook. All right. Playing that lovely blue Les Paul. Looks like a traditional Gibson Les Paul. With the Spaced Out Radio Sasquatch hat on. Look how gorgeous that guitar is. Oh. That is my dream Les Paul right there. I know. I know. I will live vicariously through Grandpa Holland and that beautiful Les Paul. Yes, I talked to John right before showtime, and he should be back for tomorrow night. All right. In about a minute, I'm going to ask you guys to start posting your questions for the Magic 8 Ball. Thank you, Ozzy Rob, for that amazing super chat, along with Carbines, along with Chad Smith ×2, Kira, Thomas, Rex, and Cat Chaser. Really appreciate that. I love you, Grandpa Holland. Just remember me. Remember me when you ever want to get rid of that guitar, if ever. That's all I ask. Okay, get your questions ready. Put them in capital letters. We're going to go here with what do you call what we do here? Magic 8 Ball. Excuse me, Magic 8 Ball. Coming up now. Rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitch, and you can follow us on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Hey, guess what it's time for? Magic 8 Ball time, everyone. Let's get a little psychic here, shall we? All right, let's get to the audience questions for Magic 8 Ball tonight. Magic 8 Ball's never wrong. Rarely ever wrong. Sarcastic, but never wrong. Except a couple of times. But we're not going to hold that against it because it is Magic 8 Ball time. We take audience questions in our chat rooms. And we're going to start off tonight with Ozzy Rob. Magic 8 Ball. Will you ever join up with the other 7 billiard balls? It's actually 8 because there's 9 balls, man. That's only if you're playing snooker. Or solids. I don't even know. I don't play pool. All right. Magic 8 Ball says, Ozzy Rob, how's them ham hocks? That's what it says. Ask again later. Magic 8 Ball didn't like that question, Ozzy Rob. Davey, how are you, buddy? If the Magic 8 Ball had hands, would it give Dave a good shaking and ask him why? Well, that's a nice question. As I see it, yes. The Magic 8 Ball does not like me shaking it. Okay, fine. All right, let's go to our buddy Carfunibre. There he is. Will I ever play drums again, Magic 8 Ball? Levels are positive. Carfunibre, you must rock, my friend. You must rock. So yes, get yourself back on the drums, buddy. All right, Race Fan wants to know, because I'm going to be taking what in Canada we call it the PAL course, which is your firearms license. Yeah. Because when I go into the forest, I don't want to kill any animals. I'm just going to say that right now. But when I go into the forest, I want to be able to feel somewhat safe when I'm wandering around looking for Sasquatch. Because, if a big old dog man ever came around and he wanted to, dust it up a little bit, I may have to protect myself because, honestly, a dog man could really kick my butt very, very, very quickly. So I got to be careful. So that's the main reason why I'm taking my firearms license here this year. So Race Fan is asking, will Dane pass the test for owning a gun? Levels are positive. Question is, will the Canadian government approve me? Considering I'm into all this woo, I really don't know. Hopefully, passing the test is one thing. The Canadian government approving that's another one. But hopefully we'll get to it. But thank you so much. Let's go to Zero Cool. Will my bowels, Magic 8 Ball, ever recover from the Taco Bell I just ate? Well, first of all, it's pretty rude of you considering that I don't have a Taco Bell in my town. And I know some people, like Zero Cool here, bring this up, that they can go to Taco Bell anytime they want because they have one nearby. The closest Taco Bell to me is 2 hours away. Not very fair. I hope you get a bad answer, Zero Cool. Will his bowels recover from Taco Bell that he just ate? The answer is, my sources say no. That's perfect. That's a good answer. You deserve to suffer from that Taco Bell for rubbing it in and not letting Davey have any. Just saying. Davey likes Taco Bell. All right. Oumuamua is asking, Magic 8 Ball, am I on the right path with my most recent interview? You may rely on it, Oumuamua. You may rely on it. Which means when you're gliding through space at 65,000 miles an hour, that Neil deGrasse Tyson will finally say, that Oumuamua, that's one sexy alien craft. Not a space rock, not a piece of ice, didn't break off Pluto, which should still be the 9th planet. All right. Let's go to Chad Smith here. Magic 8 Ball. Should a wood carver I know continue carving wood? He'll know who he is when he sees this. Reply Hazy, try again. Give him time. Body is not healed. Give him time. Black Dragon is asking, is Fedora John actually with Men in Black? The answer? My sources say no. I would agree to that. I would agree to that. I don't think John's Men in Black either. I want tacos. I wasn't hungry a minute ago till Zero Cool in the chat room dropped the Taco Bell bomb on us. All right. Oops, hit my microphone. Sorry about that. Gorgeous Jules wants to know, will I get to go to Vegas for the SOR soiree when it happens in spring? You may rely on it, Jules. Start saving now. Make it happen. You'll get there. You will get there. Chad Smith is wondering, I want to go live in a van down by the river, quoting Chris Farley, God bless him. One of the funniest people ever on this planet. Batteries are low. It's not for you, Chad. It's not for you. You need a place with a bathroom. Now, if it was a motorhome, probably. But you said van by the river, copying the late, great Chris Farley. And the answer is no. Zero Cool. Will a Taco Bell open up near Dave sometime in the next year? I already know the answer to that. Signs point to yes. Oh, that would be too good to be true. I would be like 400 pounds within 3 weeks. It would kill me. Honestly, it would kill me. Because I would be broke, but I would be satiated and happy. I wouldn't be able to see my tennis shoes because I'm not old enough for New Balance just yet. I wouldn't be able to see my shoes, but by God, I'd have fun getting there. Wouldn't be as sexy as I am right now, my gorgeous beard and hair, because I'd have hot sauce coloring my beard. And when it gets on your fingers, you rub your fingers through your hair. I'd have hot sauce hair as well. That would be cool. All right. Philofire wants to know, will we all see universal peace? Answer is, censors read no. No. Our idiot governments love war too much. They love war. Why have peace? Peace doesn't make money. The military-industrial complex does. All right, back to Chad. Should I start a new life at 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia? I don't think you can handle the cold, Chad Smith. I don't think you could. But then again, you are Chad Smith, which means you can do anything you want. The answer is, ask again later. Okay, it's later. Let's ask again. In hypersleep. Really? Come on, Magic 8 Ball. Give us the answer we need. Stop dodging the question. Censors read no. Chad, you're not moving to 108. You're not moving here. Although that would be kind of cool, dude. I'm going to be honest. You could totally hang out in the studio each and every night. Peppa wants to know, will Chad Smith's boss ever catch him watching SOR? Don't count on it. Chad's pretty sneaky. D. Swagger. Should I make TikTok videos? Only if you subscribe to mine too, and I'll subscribe to yours. At Spaced Out Radio. D. Swagger, the Magic 8 Ball says, battery's low. Take some time with that. Take some time with it. Let's see if we can warm up those batteries here. Hold on. All right, let's try this. You may rely on it, D. Swagger. It's a good plan. Good plan for you. Will Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop ever dress up as Dave Scott once again? Will that happen? Magic 8 Ball says, out of fuel, try again later. Doesn't want to answer that mystery question. Wow. Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. She wants to know if she'll ever get to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Chad Smith on drums. The answer is, I'm not doing hypersleep. Not today, Sheriff. Not today. But maybe soon. Philo Fire wants to know, should I make space taco videos? Yes, you should. It is decidedly so, says the Magic 8 Ball. If you want to take off on YouTube, make millions of dollars like Mr. Beast, You should make space taco videos. Everybody's going to hit that, man. You could be making some good money very, very soon with that idea. That is a fantastic idea. All right, I got a question here because I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. With all the flooding that's happening near Vancouver, people in my town and the cities and towns around me, I'm going to tell you, they're morons. They are morons. They think because there is a flood down in the Fraser Valley, which is horrific, by the way, like all our highways are cut off. And the highways, literally, in portions, have been washed away. Railway vehicles or railway tracks and bridges have been washed away. Lower mainland in that section of British Columbia literally got hit with a month's worth of rain in one day. It's horrible. Okay? Highway 1 is underwater. Highway 3 is underwater. Highway 99 has a mudslide that's killed people. Highway 5 has been washed out. Really bad situation here. Okay, and it's still, I don't even know if we've seen the worst yet. So anyways, our grocery stores up here are empty. Because the morons in my town who decide they got to panic shop, okay, literally are forgetting a couple of things. Number one, we're not in danger here. All right? Because east of us, there is 4,500 miles worth of Canada that has food, with highways that can get here, starting with Alberta. And if that doesn't work, all right, if that doesn't work, we have this giant country south of us called the United States of America that has lots of food. So these morons today and yesterday literally cleaned out almost every shelf in our stores. We got 2 grocery stores in town, both of them near empty because of panic shopping. Even the Metamucil was out. Who buys Metamucil these days? It's terrible. So, if you're listening to this and you're in British Columbia, don't panic shop. Don't be a moron. The way you help out other people is take what you need. Take what you need. It's garbage what we're seeing up here. Garbage. People are stupid. And I cannot stand it. Cannot stand it. Panic buying. Think about everybody. Don't just think about yourself. And this is how it ends. The news is always changing, which is why Shirky Poo keeps us up to date. How about Russia? What do? They almost caused havoc on the International Space Station because, well, they decided to blow up a rocket in space to test out new weapons. Now, the Russians are saying, not a big deal. Calm down, enjoy a little bit of vodka and some bread, maybe a hard-boiled egg. While everybody else is crapping their pants that they blew up a satellite that nearly caused the debris to literally destroy the International Space Station. So much the crews from Russia and the United States had to be in their pods to escape just in case the ISS was hit. Russia, though, totally downplaying their new anti-weapon satellite explosion. So in other words, the Russians bad. They don't think they're bad, but they're going to continue doing what they're doing. All right, moving on. Weird photo, if you haven't seen this. All right? If you haven't seen this is weird. It really is. Okay? There was a photo taken of Mars, And you might want to check this out. This photo taken on Mars here, all right, from NASA's Perseverance Mars rover, literally looks like speckled white dots on the ground. Yeah, a recent tweet that caused 2.8 million people to check it on out. The photographs were depicting some weird stuff on the Martian landscape. The photo in question, though, is one that kind of looks like there is aliens looking up at it. NASA stated the rover was peering inside to look at something no one's ever seen. It said, I braided a small patch of this rock to remove the surface layer and get a look underneath, zeroing in for a hashtag sampling Mars. But when one person replied with a screenshot with a small white patch, one of the photos, and said, that's clearly a tiny white alien. Wow. Do you think Mars is habitable? I do. I think we got aliens there. I really, really do. Let's move on. Here's a weird one. The phenomenon of ghost towns is pretty well known all over the world. These abandoned cities exist, evidenced by dilapidated houses, open and vacant gathering spaces like bus stops, school buildings, former city halls, you name it. Nagoro, Japan is a village that is dying. So what did they do? They brought in a bunch of haunted dolls to bring back tourism. Only 30 residents remain in the town. That's when Tsukimi Ayano realized that there was a bunch of dolls around, and now they've made a scarecrow village of these freaky-looking dolls. Bet you some of them are haunted. I don't like it. I'm not going there. I can't stand dolls. Let's get to the thought of the day. What are you spiritually connected to? Start off with Marlies. I'm connected to the source in me. Davey, the source. We are all one consciousness, experiencing itself subjectively. Allison Ford. It's Matt Lay's beard. Her husband. I don't blame her. Jeff, earth, water, fire, wind, and the void. Coral. Some source, not sauce. Eric is sound. Gregory, nature and goodwill. Thin Lizzy, owls and cannabis. Yeah, that brings the aliens by. John, chili cheese hot dogs. Chad Smith, this new group of friends that I'm getting to know. That's all because they worship you, Chad. That's what it comes down to. They worship the Chad Smith. Thank you to everybody playing along in the thought of the day. Shirky Poo's News. And, of course, our guest tonight, Dr. Susan Shumsky. What a great night of radio, and I hope you enjoyed it, too. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Do me a favor and get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
We're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night.